Welcome back to the Wrestling Radio. If you haven't watched the last episode, then be sure to give it a good listen, where the Royal Rumble winner is discussed, the new WWE Champion is highlighted, and the future of CM Punk is looked at in detail. So in this episode, we're going to jump straight into the most recent episode of Raw, highlighting the major points of the show. First and foremost, The Rock makes his first appearance on Raw since becoming the WWE Champion at the Royal Rumble. Believe it or not, Raw actually received its highest rating since Raw 1000 back in June last year, I think. July. It got a 3.6 rating, so each hour had an average of 5 million viewers. Though apparently Raw is still suffering with the problem of a lot of people switching over come the third hour, and they missed out in my opinion. So at the top of the show, Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman had a war of words, and we found out that later in the show, Paul Heyman was up for inspection as his contract may be in jeopardy. Any WWE fan will know, of course, Paul Heyman and a certain somebody that used to be the UFC champion are very, very close, so none other than Brock Lesnar makes his return to WWE to confront Vince himself. The very top of the show, the very end of the show, delivering a devastating F5 to the chairman, we're now hearing reports that Mr. McMahon has a broken pelvis. Whether this is story or not, we're not sure, but he sold the F5 wrong anyway and landed on his back. So if the guy can get into his own ring at the 2005 Royal Rumble event, tear both his quadriceps, I'm pretty sure he could legit break his pelvis when he's 8 years older after an F5 from Lesnar. So with this, I was thinking you've got to believe there's going to be some kind of development with this towards WrestleMania. Again, any wrestling fan will know Vince McMahon is the father-in-law to Triple H because he's married to his daughter Stephanie. The same guy Brock Lesnar faced at last year's SummerSlam event. So Lesnar doesn't have an incredibly long contract as it is. I'm pretty sure it's nearly up come WrestleMania / Extreme Rules. So I'm sure there are tons of rumours and opinions flying around that we're going to see a Triple H and Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania 29 in April. One thing I want to touch on, I touched on it briefly in the previous episode, but I wanted to go a bit more in depth, and I got a bit of feedback from a friend of mine. I'll put his YouTube down in the description below. Some of you may know him. It's basically about the older fans that don't want to, watch the product anymore. They don't watch it as much as they used to. So here's what I think. Here are basically a few reasons why the older fans should watch WWE again. The first one is the most obvious. The Rock is the WWE champion, one of the biggest stars in the history of the company, and if not one of the most popular in the Attitude Era when the older fans watched. Is he's again on the top of the food chain in WWE. So if you love The Rock, you'll enjoy seeing him back, and even if you don't like The Rock, the product tends to be edgier whenever he's around. There's a bit more cursing, there's a bit more swearing, the product just feels edgier. So if the PG rating is your biggest issue with not watching anymore, you honestly don't have to worry about anything. Just because people aren't being busted open at the very top of the show with whatever weapons can be found doesn't mean the show's terrible. It doesn't mean the show sucks, but that's another topic for another episode. So similar to The Rock, Chris Jericho's back. If you love the older guys like Rock, Jericho, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, Kane, and plenty of others from about a decade ago, then I can assure you that Chris Jericho that is back in WWE now is still the same Chris Jericho you saw when you watched in the Attitude Era. Not only does he come and go, he's got his band Fozzy, he does gigs every now and then, and not only does he come and go, but anytime he does come back, he comes back with something completely new and completely fresh each time. So it's never a bad thing to see Jericho back. It's always something fresh each time. And not to mention that he's still got a hell of a lot of talent, and he is so good in the ring still, even at 42 years old. He is still fit and fighting. Speaking of still fit and fighting, the new talent that's in WWE is just bursting at the seams of it factors and talent and everything, and the charisma and the characters they've all got. So the new faces you may not have seen before, standouts like Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Alberto Del Rio, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, many, many more. With the creation of NXT in 2010, basically like a rookie program where people compete to get a WWE contract. It's similar to Tough Enough, but it's like, I don't know, it's like a talent show, if you will. So if you haven't watched WWE in years, and you find it a bit hard to adjust to the new feel of WWE that they've adopted since you watched, I can assure you, if you give it one chance, you'll be really surprised how much the new stuff that's on TV can actually remind you of a lot of stuff you used to watch. Like, you always get similar angles to what you would have watched I don't know, 10 years ago. So it's never a problem watching WWE right now. There's always something that may have been done before, but it's been, it's just adjusted to the new era and what the current demographic rating is. Whether it's PG or not, who cares? But there are still edgier products going on. There's still, edgier stories, edgier characters. You just give it a chance, you will enjoy it, I assure you. So the stories aren't bad by any means. The superstars are great, and you still have your favourites from, what you would call the good old days. Like I mentioned earlier, Brock Lesnar's back. The former WWE champion of 2002 towards 2004 is back, and he looks great, even after losing a ton of mass after being the UFC champion. Since his return, he went straight after John Cena last April, and plenty of people despise Cena for everything he stands for, and the sheer fact that he's the poster child and the face of the entire company pisses people off to the max. So Lesnar picked a perfect target, really. You say WWE doesn't listen to the fans, but hello, Mr. PG just got absolutely destroyed by Lesnar last year. Lesnar's had a great feud with Triple H. That also involved Shawn Michaels, Hall of Famer. Huge brawls on Raw that had the entire roster come out to break it up. And if it's really your thing, I used to think it'd be cool if this happened in a match, but if it's really your thing, blood, lots of blood. His match at Extreme Rules last April was Cena was bloody, it was violent, it was horrible, it was brutal, it was memorable. It was actually voted as one of the best matches of the entire year. So right there, that tells you stuff you loved, stuff you used to watch still happens today. You just have to give it a chance. Another thing, many people will remember the legendary angles and rivalries that Stone Cold and Vince McMahon were involved in over the years. You probably watched. The beauty of that is it's still going on today. I mean, you have the employee against boss angles still. You've had CM Punk going up against John Laurinaitis, Mr. McMahon, and telling other staff exactly what he thinks, and it is edgy again. You have the current story involving CM Punk again, the Shield, which consists of Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, which was better known as Tyler Black in Ring of Honor, I think. Don't quote me on that now, I'm pretty sure. And you get Dean Ambrose as well, a very, very good talent that everybody should have known by now. He's brilliant. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar still involved in these boss / employee angles, and they're all involved with Vince McMahon in their own way. So like I said earlier, if you need something that reminds you of the Attitude Era to keep watching the current product, just look no further than CM Punk, The Shield, Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar. You have, he hasn't been in it for a while, but Stone Cold does appear. You have The Rock, you have Chris Jericho, you have Kane, you have Undertaker. You still have all the ones you have today. It's just that they've adjusted to the new era. They've adjusted to the demographic they've got. They haven't changed the product. Well, they have changed the product, but it's still the same as it was 10 years ago. They've just adjusted to it. So honestly, if you're worried about anything, you just think the product sucks, if you've got a spare chance, to go on YouTube. You don't have to watch a full show every Monday night, because I know for the fans that are probably listening in the UK where I'm from, you have to stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning for Raw to even start, and then when it's 3 hours, it finishes at 4 o'clock in the morning. You are fucked by the time, you are fucked by the time you need sleep. What am I trying to say? More often than not, you watch Raw and you're fucked. You need sleep, you can't get sleep, you fuck your sleeping pattern up. So that's how dedicated some fans are. But you don't have to watch a full show, just go on YouTube, look at little clips and stuff, just see how it's basically developed over the years you watch. Just type in, I don't know, WWE 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, just see how it's developed, high points and low points, like I said last episode. Again, link down in the description if you've not watched that. Highlighting The Rock winning the WWE Championship, CM Punk obviously losing the WWE Championship in the future for him, why his streak needed to end of actually holding the WWE title, and obviously John Cena winning the Royal Rumble, link down in the description. What I said in that one, basically, you have to give it a chance, you have to see how it's developed and adjust to it. Times change, people change, things change, and I think a lot of people at the end of the day, they forget that WWE is a business. It thrives on making money and, more importantly, a profit. It's just like your shop, your local store, your shop down the bottom of the road or on the corner shop or anything. It may not be huge, it may not be global and universal, but they're still a business and they need money. They thrive on making a profit, and WWE is just that. So Personally, if they're going to go to WrestleMania and do The Rock and John Cena 2, I can't fault them for it because it made a boatload of money on box office and everything last year. So if I was Vince McMahon, it made me all that money, I would do the very same again. So that's all I'm going to do for this episode. Leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below, whether you agree with my points or not, and if not, tell me why, of course. More importantly, if you want to see more, you can of course click the subscribe button. That is very, very helpful. If you want, you can like the video, you can favourite it, you can share it on Facebook, anywhere you like. And more importantly, stay tuned because there is a lot more coming from this channel. A lot more people going to be talking on it soon, not just me. And basically, just stay informed with this channel because it is going to be very, very big. I hope you enjoy it. Leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see you in the next episode.